designed to trigger you, to pull you out of your peace, to make you act in ways that lower your own standards. Strong people recognize this game, and they simply refuse to play it. When faced with disrespect, a strong person silently asks themselves, is this worth my energy? They know that reacting out of anger can escalate a situation unnecessarily. Instead of raising their voice or attacking back, they calmly observe the moment. They analyze what just happened without absorbing the negativity. Their pause is not because they don't know what to say. It's because they understand that not everything deserves their words. Silence, in that moment, is their shield. It gives them the upper hand because they remain composed while the other person loses control. This ability to stay calm doesn't come from pretending the disrespect doesn't hurt. It comes from understanding that their peace is priceless. They don't allow someone else's bad behavior to control their emotional state. Even when the disrespect cuts deep, they choose to process their feelings privately. They don't give the disrespectful person the satisfaction of seeing them shaken. Strong people know that sometimes the most powerful statement is to say nothing and walk away with dignity. The quiet strength in their response leaves a lasting impression. It shows that they are not easily moved or manipulated. It's not about being passive. It's about being smart. Strong people understand that keeping calm is a position of strength, not weakness. They know that anyone can react, but it takes discipline to respond with intention. They choose their words carefully. If they decide to respond at all, they are not interested in winning arguments. They are interested in maintaining their self-respect. Their calmness protects them from being dragged into unnecessary drama. Over time, this habit of pausing, breathing, and choosing peace over reaction becomes a natural part of who they are. It builds their reputation as someone who cannot be easily provoked, someone who moves with purpose, and someone who always keeps their power. Strong people know that disrespect, when left unchecked, often repeats itself. They understand that allowing someone to cross their boundaries once can send a silent message that it's acceptable to do it again. That's why strong people are clear about what they will and will not tolerate. When someone disrespects them, they do not shy away from addressing it. They don't scream, they don't seek revenge, and they don't beg for kindness. Instead, they calmly and firmly set boundaries that protect their dignity and peace. They let people know, either through words or decisive actions, that certain behaviors are not acceptable in their space. Setting boundaries doesn't mean being aggressive or harsh. It's about having the self-respect to stand up for yourself in a way that commands respect without creating unnecessary conflict. Strong people understand that their energy is precious and they must guard it. When someone crosses the line, they don't engage in endless explanations or emotional pleas. They simply state their limits with clarity and confidence. Their tone is steady, their words are measured, and their message is unmistakable. This is not okay, and it will not happen again. Strong people are not afraid of losing people who cannot respect their boundaries. They would rather stand alone in peace than stay surrounded by people who continue to cross the lines they've drawn. They know that people who genuinely care will respect their limits, while those who don't will distance themselves. And that's perfectly fine with them. Setting boundaries is not just about protecting themselves from harm. It's about creating space for healthy, respectful connections to grow. What makes strong people stand out is that they don't feel guilty for establishing these boundaries. They don't second guess themselves or feel the need to justify why they've put certain walls in place. They understand that their well-being, worth, and mental peace come first. They know that it's not selfish to protect themselves, it's necessary. Sometimes setting a boundary means cutting off toxic conversations. Sometimes it means stepping away from people who continuously test their limits. And sometimes it simply means saying no without explanation and standing firmly behind that decision. Strong people don't teach people how to respect them by talking about it. They teach through action. They follow through. When a boundary is crossed, they don't just make threats or empty statements. They act. This consistency earns them the respect they deserve, even from those who initially tried to push past their limits. Over time, people learn that strong people are not to be taken lightly because they know how to protect themselves calmly, confidently, and without compromise. Strong people never chase validation from those who disrespect them. They understand a deep truth. Not everyone will like them, appreciate them, or see their true worth. And that's perfectly okay. They don't waste their energy trying to win the approval of people who have already shown them disregard. Instead of questioning themselves or wondering what they did wrong, strong people remain secure in who they are. They know their value doesn't decrease because someone else failed to recognize it. Their self-worth is not built on the shaky ground of other people's opinions. It is built from within. When disrespected, many people feel the urge to prove their importance, to explain themselves, or to fight for acknowledgement. But strong people move differently. They don't argue to be seen. They don't explain their worth to people who refuse to see it. They don't chase closure from those who treated them poorly. They realize that seeking validation from someone who disrespects you is like knocking on a door that was never meant to open. It's a losing battle, and strong people refuse to fight battles that don't deserve their presence. Strong people have learned to validate themselves. They remind themselves of their strengths, their growth, their uniqueness, and their contributions. They don't need someone else's approval to feel good about who they are. They've developed a quiet confidence that doesn't depend on external praise. This confidence gives them the freedom to walk away from situations and people that don't respect them without feeling the need to chase after understanding or acceptance. They don't seek to prove themselves because they've already proven their worth to the person who matters most, themselves. The beauty of this mindset is that it gives strong people peace. They are not emotionally tied to the opinions of those who try to belittle them. Disrespect doesn't shake their core because their self-esteem isn't built on fragile foundations. They know that respect starts from within, and if someone cannot offer it, that's a reflection of the other person, not a reason to doubt themselves. When strong people walk away from disrespect, they don't do it with bitterness. They do it with clarity. They carry no heavy need for validation because they are already complete. They refuse to shrink themselves to fit into someone else's limited view. They understand that if someone can't see their value, it's not their job to make them. Their worth is not up for negotiation, and their life is too precious to spend it proving themselves to people who don't deserve that effort. Strong people stay grounded, focused, and at peace, never chasing validation, always choosing self-respect. Strong people understand that not every act of disrespect deserves their attention. They have mastered the wisdom of choosing their battles wisely. They know that reacting to every insult, every careless comment, or every rude gesture only drains their energy and pulls them into unnecessary conflicts. Not everything is worth their time, and not everyone deserves a response. Strong people know that their peace, their growth, and their purpose are far more valuable than proving themselves in every small disagreement or confrontation. When someone disrespects them, strong people ask themselves a simple but powerful question: does this really matter in the bigger picture of my life? Most of the time, the answer is no. They know that some people disrespect others out of their own pain, insecurity, or ignorance. Strong people don't carry the weight of another person's bad behavior. They see it for what it is: a reflection of the other person, not a measurement of their own worth. This mindset allows them to stay calm and to walk away when it's simply not worth it. Walking away is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of emotional maturity and inner strength. Strong people are not afraid of being misunderstood when they choose silence. They are not interested in forcing others to see things their way. They know that true power is not found in winning every argument, but in protecting their peace and focusing on what truly matters. They save their energy for battles that impact their growth, their goals, and their future, not for meaningless conflicts that only create noise and tension. Strong people also understand that their reaction to disrespect can either fuel the fire or extinguish it. Sometimes, ignoring a disrespectful person is the most powerful move they can make. It sends a silent message: you are not important enough to disturb my peace. This level of emotional discipline is something they have built over time. They don't let their pride push them into unnecessary confrontations. They don't feel the need to always defend themselves or prove they're right. They understand that walking away is a choice, and in that choice, they maintain control over themselves and the situation. Choosing their battles wisely helps strong people stay focused on their life's bigger goals. They understand that if they waste their energy on every insult, they will have no energy left for their purpose, their dreams, or the people who truly matter. Strong people don't invest in battles that won't matter a week, a month, or a year from now. They walk away with their head held high, knowing that their silence, their focus, and their peace are worth far more than winning a pointless fight. Strong people understand that chasing revenge is a trap that only keeps them tied to the pain. When they are disrespected, their first instinct is not to get even or to make the other person feel the same hurt. Instead, they choose to protect their self-respect and focus on their own growth. They know that wasting time and energy on revenge does not heal the wound. It only keeps the negativity alive. As strong people believe that the best response to disrespect is to rise above it and build a life so full of purpose, peace, and happiness that the disrespect no longer holds any power over them. They realize that revenge often comes from a place of hurt ego. It's the mind's way of saying, I need to make them pay to feel better. But strong people see through this illusion. They know that temporary satisfaction gained from revenge does not bring lasting peace. In fact, it usually leads to regret and continues to drag them into the very negativity they are trying to escape. Instead of sinking to the level of those who have disrespected them, strong people choose to elevate themselves. They use the pain as fuel, not to hurt others, but to build themselves. Their focus quickly shifts from the person who caused harm to their own personal development. They begin to pour their energy into things that truly matter, improving their skills, strengthening their character, working on their dreams, and surrounding themselves with people who uplift them. Strong people understand that success, peace, and genuine happiness are the most powerful answers to those who tried to bring them down. They don't need to speak much. Their progress speaks for them. Strong people also realize that holding on to anger and revenge keeps them emotionally tied to the person who disrespected them, and they don't want to give anyone that much control over their life. They choose freedom instead. By focusing on their growth, they free themselves from bitterness. They release the desire to win in the eyes of others, because to them, the real victory is inner peace. It's the ability to move forward without resentment, without dragging the past behind them like heavy chains. The beauty of this mindset is that it makes strong people unstoppable. They keep building, they keep shining, and they keep rising. Their life becomes that quiet but undeniable response. They know that they do not need to prove anything to those who have disrespected them. Instead, they prove everything to themselves by living a life filled with purpose, growth, and self-love. Their greatest revenge is that they are happy, at peace, and completely unaffected by the negativity that once tried to pull them down. Strong people understand that their true power lies in their ability to control themselves, not in controlling others. When they are disrespected, they never hand over their emotional power to the person who disrespected them. They know that the moment they allow someone else's words or actions to dictate how they feel or behave, they have silently given that person control over their peace, their mood, and their direction. Strong people refuse to give that power away. They hold on to it tightly because they know that their peace, their confidence, and their self-worth are too valuable to be placed in someone else's hands. When faced with disrespect, strong people make a conscious decision. They choose to stay empowered. This does not mean they are emotionless. They feel the sting of disrespect, but they don't let it rule their next move. Instead of reacting in anger or trying to match the disrespect with more negativity, they step back and remind themselves who they are. They ask, does this person's opinion or behavior really define me? Does it deserve to control me? The answer is always no. Keeping their power means they don't beg for apologies or chase explanations from people who have hurt them. They understand that people will act from their own wounds, insecurities, and sometimes ignorance. Strong people don't carry those burdens. They don't become prisoners of someone else's immaturity. They stay centered, reminding themselves that their response is always their choice. Their emotions are theirs to manage, and no one else has the right to control how they feel. This strength is not always loud. Sometimes it is the quiet decision to walk away. Sometimes